Have you ever stopped and asked yourself why some people seem to move forward in life while others stay stuck? You look around and see people growing, learning, building their dreams, and you think, what do they have that I don't? Maybe they look confident. Maybe they seem lucky. Maybe they have money or talent. But what if I told you the real difference isn't outside at all? It's inside. It's something you already have, your mind. Yes, your mind is your greatest power. It can lift you up or break you down. It can build a life or destroy it. It can make a normal person unstoppable. You don't need to be a genius or a millionaire to use it. You just need to learn how it works. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant in it grows. Thoughts, ideas, fears, dreams. If you plant doubt, you get fear. If you plant belief, you get strength. Every word you think, every image you imagine, is a seed. But here's the secret most people never discover. They let weeds grow instead of flowers. They let their minds repeat the same worries, the same excuses, the same negative stories again and again. And over time, those thoughts become walls, invisible walls that stop them from living freely. They don't see the walls, but they feel them. When they want to speak, fear appears. When they want to start, doubt whispers, you can't. Maybe you felt it too. You know you want more peace, more confidence, more control, but something inside keeps pulling you back. That something is not bad luck. It's not weakness. It's just an untrained mind. The good news is your mind can change. It can grow stronger every day if you learn to guide it. Imagine this. Your mind is a wild horse. It's fast, powerful, and full of energy, but without direction it runs in circles. Awareness is the reins. When you hold them gently and guide the horse, it can take you anywhere. But if you drop the reins, the horse controls you. That's what happens when we let emotions, fears, and old habits rule our thoughts. So today, start by noticing your thoughts. That simple act changes everything. When you feel anxious, don't fight it. Just say softly in English, I see this thought. I see this feeling. When you feel lazy, don't judge yourself. Just notice, my mind is trying to protect me from effort. You are learning to become the rider, not the horse. You are learning to become the master of your own inner world. And this is where true strength begins, not in muscles, not in money, but in mastery of mind. Because once you understand that your thoughts are not reality, that you can choose them, you begin to feel something new, freedom. The kind that no one can take away. The kind that comes when you realize you have always had the power, hidden quietly inside your own mind, waiting for you to remember. You carry it with you everywhere you go. The voice that never stops speaking inside your head. It tells you what to do, what not to do, what's possible, what's dangerous. Sometimes it encourages you. You can do this. Sometimes it whispers doubt. You're not good enough. Most people never realize how powerful that voice is. They think it's just their thoughts. But that voice shapes how you feel, how you act, and what kind of life you create. Your inner voice is like a constant companion, a narrator of your reality. It talks when you wake up, when you eat, when you study, when you look in the mirror. If you listen carefully, you'll hear it all day long. The question is that voice your friend or your enemy? Because your mind always believes the words you repeat to it. If you keep saying, I can't, your brain starts closing doors. If you keep saying, I can, it starts building paths. Every word becomes a direction. Think of your mind as a loyal servant. It doesn't judge, it just follows orders. If you say, I'm tired, I'm lazy, I'll never succeed, your mind says, okay, and creates that reality. But if you say, I'm learning, I'm improving, I'm stronger every day, it says the same, okay, and begins to make it true. The mind is neutral. You give it meaning through your words. So the first step in using your superpower is learning to speak to yourself with respect, patience, and faith. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You see your reflection, but you also see your thoughts. Now imagine if every critical, fearful word appeared as a shadow on your face. Would you still speak to yourself the same way? Most of us say things to ourselves we'd never say to a friend. We forgive others, but not ourselves. We cheer for others, but doubt our own steps. But your mind listens. It's always listening. And the more love you give it, the more courage it gives back. Here's a simple exercise. When you catch yourself thinking something negative, I'm stupid, I'll fail, I'm not ready, stop for a moment and answer kindly, as if you were talking to a younger version of yourself. Say, no, I'm learning. I'm growing. It's okay to make mistakes. Say it in English, slowly, softly. Feel how those words change the rhythm of your heart. You're not lying to yourself. You're reprogramming your brain to believe in you again. Because that's what your mind needs most. Not pressure, but trust. When you trust your mind, it opens. It starts to create solutions instead of problems. It becomes your partner instead of your prison. And slowly, quietly, that inner voice starts to change tone. It becomes lighter, kinder, stronger. You start to feel peace instead of panic. You start to feel alive again. Your mind is not against you. It's just been repeating what it learned for years. Fear, comparison, doubt. But the moment you speak to it with awareness and compassion, you begin rewriting its script. You begin creating a new story from the inside out. A story where you are not a victim of your thoughts, but the author of them. And that, quietly, is how your real power begins to rise. Once you start changing the way you speak to your mind, something beautiful begins to happen. The noise inside your head becomes softer. The confusion becomes clearer. You start to see that your mind is like a lens. When it's clean, it focuses light. When it's dirty, everything looks dark. Most people live with a dusty lens. Their focus jumps from one thought to another, from one worry to the next. They are constantly distracted, not because they are weak, but because they never learned how to direct their attention. Your attention is energy. Whatever you focus on grows. Focus on fear, and fear expands. Focus on gratitude, and peace expands. Every single thought is like water, and your focus is the watering can. If you pour it on weeds, the weeds will grow. If you pour it on flowers, the flowers will bloom. It's that simple, but also that powerful. The problem is, most of us don't even realize where our focus goes during the day. It moves from phone to problem to memory to future, never resting, never breathing. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're walking down the street, and someone gives you a small compliment. Nice work today. You feel happy for a moment. Then an hour later, someone else says something rude, and your mind stays there all day, replaying it, analyzing it, feeding it energy. The insult was only a few words, but your focus turned it into a mountain. You didn't choose peace, you chose pain. Not because you wanted to, but because your mind went where your attention led it. That's why awareness is so important. Once you start noticing your thoughts, you gain the power to choose where to place your energy. Every morning, you can decide, today I will focus on progress, not problems. It doesn't mean bad things disappear. It means you stop giving them all your power. Focus doesn't change the world around you immediately, but it changes how you move through it. Try this small daily habit. When you wake up, before touching your phone, look around your room and say 3 simple sentences in English. I'm here. I'm safe. I'm ready to focus on what matters. These words train your mind to begin the day in the present moment. Then, as you go through your day, notice where your focus drifts. When it wanders to worry, gently bring it back. Say, come back home. Do it again and again until focus becomes natural, like breathing. You don't need to fight distraction with force. You guide it with kindness. Focus is not about control. It's about returning to what's real, to what's now, to what's within your reach. When you learn this, you stop wasting energy on things you can't change. You begin to feel stronger, calmer, and more alive. Because true focus doesn't just make your mind sharper, it makes your heart quieter. And in that quiet, your real power starts to shine brighter than ever. When your focus becomes calm and clear, you begin to notice something deeper beneath your thoughts, the stories. Every person lives inside invisible stories. These stories decide how you see yourself, how you treat others, how you face challenges, and how far you believe you can go. Some stories are strong and kind. I can learn anything. Others are heavy and cruel. I always fail. These are not facts. They are beliefs your mind learned long ago and never questioned. Think about it. You were not born afraid to speak, afraid to dream, or afraid to fail. You learned those fears because someone, somewhere, told you a story that made you smaller. Maybe a teacher said you weren't smart. Maybe a friend laughed when you tried something new. Maybe life disappointed you once, and your mind wrote a quiet sentence. It's safer not to try. That sentence became a story, and that story became a rule you follow without even realizing it. But the truth is simple. You can rewrite the story. You can be the author, not the character. Your mind listens to every word you say, so when you repeat old pain, it keeps you there. But when you start telling new stories, your brain begins to believe them too. It doesn't matter how long you've carried the old ones. The moment you speak a new sentence, you plant a new seed. Try this. Write down one sentence that feels heavy inside you. Maybe it's, I'm not confident, or I always give up. Look at it carefully. Then ask yourself, is this the truth or just a story? Most times, you'll feel it. It's not truth, it's fear pretending to be truth. Now gently cross it out and write a new one in English. I'm learning to be confident. I'm getting stronger. I don't give up anymore. Read it out loud every morning until your mind starts to accept it as normal. Changing your inner story is not magic, it's training. At first, your brain resists because it's used to the old path. It feels strange, maybe fake. But remember, your brain believes what it hears most. Feed it the new story every day, and soon it becomes your default truth. That's how transformation begins. One word, one thought, one choice at a time. And something powerful happens when your story changes. The world starts responding differently to you. People see your new energy. Your eyes become brighter, your posture straighter. It's not luck. It's the echo of your own belief reflecting back. When your inner story says, I'm capable, life starts to agree. When it says, I'm enough, peace begins to bloom. Your mind is a storyteller, but you are the author. And every day you wake up, you hold the pen. You can write fear, or you can write faith. You can repeat pain, or you can write healing. The page is blank every morning. What will you write today? As you begin rewriting your inner stories, something else rises to the surface, your emotions. They are not enemies. They are messengers. Every feeling you have is a signal from your mind, trying to tell you something about your life. Yet most people try to silence their emotions. They hide sadness under fake smiles. They push away fear with distractions. They bury anger deep inside and call it strength. But emotions are like waves. If you fight them, they drown you. If you learn to float with them, they guide you home. Your emotions are the language of your subconscious mind. When you feel anxious, your mind is saying, I'm scared of losing control. When you feel jealous, it whispers, I want that too. When you feel sad, it says, something important needs care. None of these feelings are bad. They only become heavy when you ignore them. Listening to your emotions doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. Because every emotion hides information, a truth about who you are and what you need. Imagine walking through a forest with a flashlight. Your emotions are the light that shows you where to look. If you turn off the flashlight because you don't like what you see, you walk blind. But if you keep it on, you can see the roots, the stones, the path ahead. In the same way, when you stay open to your emotions, even the painful ones, they help you see where your healing is waiting. Try this simple practice. When a strong emotion appears, pause for a moment. Don't label it as good or bad. Just name it softly in English. I feel nervous. I feel angry. I feel lonely. Then breathe. Ask your mind, what are you trying to show me? At first, the answer may not come, but your awareness begins to listen. And that listening is the first step to emotional intelligence, the power to understand your inner world before reacting to it. As you do this again and again, you will notice a change. The emotions that once scared you begin to calm down faster. They start to feel less like storms and more like weather, passing, moving, teaching. You'll see that you can feel deeply and still stay steady. That's real strength. It's not about never feeling sad or afraid. It's about knowing that these feelings don't control you anymore. They pass through, but they don't stay forever. Your mind learns from your emotions. Every tear, every smile, every moment of fear, they are lessons. When you start to listen with kindness, you stop running from yourself. You realize that even the darkest feelings have light inside them. And with each honest breath, your mind becomes softer, clearer, more powerful. Because the person who can sit calmly with their emotions can face anything in the world. When you start to listen to your emotions instead of fighting them, something changes inside you. You begin to feel a quiet strength growing. Not loud, not showy, but deep and steady. It's the strength of calm. Real power doesn't shout. It doesn't rush. It doesn't need to prove itself. Real power breathes slowly, thinks clearly, and moves with peace. That's what calm truly is, not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. Your mind becomes powerful when it learns to stay centered no matter what's happening around it. The world can be noisy, chaotic, unfair, full of pressure, but your calm mind can stay like a mountain in the middle of a storm. The clouds move, the wind screams, but the mountain doesn't run away. It stays. It watches. It waits. That's the kind of power you carry inside you when you choose calm over chaos. Most people confuse calm with weakness. They think calm people don't care or don't fight. But calm is the highest form of strength because it gives you control. When you stay calm, you can see clearly. You can decide wisely. You can protect your energy instead of wasting it on every small reaction. And that's what separates people who break easily from those who bend but never fall. Think of the times you lost your temper or panicked. Did it help? Did it make the problem smaller? Probably not. It only drained you. But imagine if, in those moments, you had taken one deep breath, stepped back, and said to yourself, let me see this clearly. That single breath can change everything. It's a signal to your brain that you are safe, that you are choosing awareness over fear. And your brain listens. Here's a practice to train calm. When you feel tension building, maybe someone upsets you, or something goes wrong, Don't react right away. Pause. Place your hand on your chest and take 3 slow breaths. Feel your heartbeat slow down. Then ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Most times, it's not. You'll notice the problem is still there, but your mind isn't trapped inside it anymore. You can think, choose, and act with balance. Calm doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right thing at the right time without losing yourself in the process. It's the space between what happens and how you respond. That space is where all your power lies. The more you protect that space, the stronger your mind becomes. As you practice this, you'll start noticing small miracles. Conversations that used to end in arguments will feel lighter. Situations that once scared you will seem smaller. People will notice your quiet confidence, not because you talk more, but because you radiate peace. And that peace becomes a shield, a signal, a soft kind of power that no chaos can destroy. This is the kind of strength the world needs more of. Not noise, not control, but calm minds that can think clearly and lead with kindness. And that strength begins with you. When calm becomes your base, you begin to notice another truth. Your mind doesn't grow strong by chance. It grows through habits, small, invisible actions repeated every day. Just like the body becomes stronger through exercise, the mind becomes sharper, clearer, and braver through daily mental training. The thoughts you repeat are your workouts. The emotions you face are your lessons. The actions you choose are your tools. Your habits are like gentle rivers shaping the rocks of your mind. One drop doesn't change much, but over time, water can carve stone. In the same way, one moment of patience, 1 minute of focus, one kind word to yourself might seem small, but they build a powerful inner landscape. Most people wait for motivation, for the perfect day to start changing. But the truth is, it's the small daily choices that build the mind of a champion. Let's make this simple. Every morning, you have 2 options: repeat yesterday or create today. If you wake up and go straight to your phone, you're training distraction. If you wake up and take 3 calm breaths, you're training focus. If you spend your day complaining, you're training weakness. If you spend it learning, you're training growth. Every habit feeds one version of you, the weak one or the strong one. Which one are you feeding today? Try building 3 small habits that protect your mind. First, the morning reset. Before the noise of the day starts, spend 1 minute in silence. Breathe, stretch, or just look out the window. Let your first thought be your own, not the world's. Second, the gratitude moment. Once a day, stop and name one thing you're thankful for. A person, a feeling, even a small success. Gratitude keeps your mind from drowning in what's missing. Third, the reflection check. Before sleeping, ask, what did I learn today? Not what went wrong, what you learned. That single question turns every mistake into growth. The more you repeat these habits, the more automatic they become. Soon, calm becomes your default, gratitude becomes your lens, and learning becomes your rhythm. Your mind starts to feel lighter, more focused, more alive. You stop fighting your thoughts and start working with them. Remember, you don't need to change your whole life at once. The strongest people you admire didn't get there by doing everything in one day. They built daily rituals that turned into strength. Your mind doesn't need perfection, it needs consistency. Every time you choose a habit that builds peace instead of chaos, you are proving to yourself that you are in control. Over time, these habits become who you are. They turn your thoughts into allies, your emotions into teachers, and your life into a reflection of quiet discipline. And that's the secret most people never learn. Your habits don't just change what you do, they change who you become. As your good habits begin to take root, they start feeding something even deeper inside you: belief. Belief is the silent energy that moves your entire life. It is invisible, but you can feel it in your chest, in your steps, in the way you speak. It decides how high you dare to reach and how quickly you rise after falling. Everything begins and ends with what you believe about yourself. The mind follows belief like a compass follows north. If you believe you can, your brain looks for ways to make it real. If you believe you can't, it looks for reasons to stop. It doesn't matter what the truth is, your belief writes it. That's why people with average talent often go further than people with great talent, because they believe harder, longer, and deeper. Belief gives strength to action, and action gives proof to belief. It's a cycle of power. Think about your own thoughts. How often do you say, "Maybe I'll try," instead of "I will"? How often do you expect failure before even starting? Your words reveal your beliefs. Every sentence you say is like a small prayer to your future. If you keep saying, "I don't think I can," you are quietly asking your life to stay small. But when you start saying, "I will find a way," your energy begins to rise. You may not feel it at first, but your mind hears the command and begins to follow it. Here's a simple exercise. Stand in front of a mirror each morning, look into your own eyes, and say one strong sentence in English: "I believe in me." Not because everything is perfect, but because you're choosing faith over fear. Say it again and again until it feels true. You are not just speaking, you are programming your mind for confidence. Belief is like fire. It begins with one small spark, a moment when you decide to trust yourself even without evidence. That spark can grow into a flame if you feed it with action. Every time you try again, you add fuel. Every time you refuse to quit, you make it burn brighter. Soon, that fire becomes unstoppable, and other people start to feel its warmth too. Never forget, belief is a choice. It's not something you wait for. It's something you create. Even in fear, you can choose belief. Even in failure, you can choose it again. And when you do, your whole energy changes. You walk taller, you speak clearer, you see possibilities where others see problems. That's when you understand that belief isn't just a thought. It's the invisible current that turns your mind from a quiet room into a storm of purpose. When belief begins to live inside you, it naturally asks for one thing: movement. Because belief without action is like fire without oxygen. It cannot breathe. The moment you start to act, even in small ways, your mind begins to trust you. Each action is a message that says, "I mean it. I'm serious about my life." And when your mind believes you, it works for you instead of against you. Most people wait until they feel ready before taking action. They say, "I'll start when I'm confident, when I'm motivated, when I have more time." But that perfect moment never comes. Confidence doesn't come before action, it comes after it. Every brave person you admire once felt afraid too. The difference is they moved anyway. Action is what transforms fear into strength. Think of action as medicine for the mind. When you act, you stop overthinking. You stop drowning in what-ifs. You start creating results, even small ones. And those results give you proof. Proof that you can, proof that you are capable, proof that the old stories were wrong. Each step, no matter how small, becomes a brick in the foundation of your new self. Imagine you want to learn English, start a business, or change your life. Don't wait to feel perfect. Start by doing one simple thing today. Write 5 sentences. Watch one short video. Make one phone call. Tiny steps create movement, and movement wakes up your energy. Your brain begins to see progress, and progress builds motivation. It's not magic, It's momentum. Here's a practice. Whenever your mind says, "I'll do it later," answer softly, "I'll do it now," even for 5 minutes. Start small. 5 minutes of focused effort is stronger than 5 hours of waiting. You don't need to climb the whole mountain at once. You just need to take the next step. Each step teaches your brain to expect success instead of fear. And remember, action doesn't always mean doing big things. Sometimes it means staying kind when you want to be angry. It means breathing when you want to panic. It means speaking gently to yourself after a mistake. These small actions train your mind to respond with strength, not weakness. As you keep acting, your inner world starts to change shape. You begin to see that the distance between dreaming and doing was never that far. It was always just one decision away. And the more you choose action, the more your life begins to move, not in chaos, but in rhythm, like a song you're finally learning to dance to. When you start taking real action, you soon meet one of life's greatest teachers, failure. It doesn't matter how smart, careful, or prepared you are, failure visits everyone. But what makes people different is how they respond to it. Some stop, some hide, some let it define them. Others look straight at it and say, "Teach me." Because that's what failure really is, a teacher disguised as pain. Your mind doesn't like failure because it confuses it with danger. When something goes wrong, the brain sends a signal. This hurts. Don't try again. But you must remind yourself, this isn't death. This is learning. Every mistake, every rejection, every no is information. It's showing you what didn't work, not who you are. The problem isn't falling. It's refusing to stand up after you fall. Think of failure as a mirror. It shows you exactly where your growth is waiting. When you avoid it, you avoid the truth. But when you face it, you start to understand yourself deeply. You learn patience, humility, creativity, and courage, qualities success can't always teach. In fact, the strongest people you know probably failed more times than others even tried. Here's a simple practice. When something doesn't go as planned, pause before judging yourself. Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I learned." Write down one clear lesson the experience gave you. Maybe you learned to prepare better, to manage your time, or to listen more carefully. Then say, "Thank you, failure, for showing me this." It might feel strange at first, but that gratitude turns pain into wisdom. Remember, your failures don't define your worth, they define your path. They show where your strength is being built. Each time you rise again, your mind becomes stronger, braver, more flexible. What once scared you starts to feel familiar. What once hurt you becomes fuel. Success is not a straight line. It's a dance between falling and standing, between losing and learning. The people who keep going are not those who never fall, but those who never stay down. Every scar becomes a story of survival. Every setback becomes a stepping stone. And slowly, without realizing it, failure stops feeling like an enemy and starts feeling like an old friend. Tough, honest, but always guiding you forward. After you've met failure a few times and learned to rise again, your mind begins to crave something new, peace. Not excitement, not more noise, but silence. Because strength without peace is still incomplete. A restless mind can win many battles, but never find rest. And the truth is, your greatest power doesn't come from constant thinking. It comes from the stillness between your thoughts. In that stillness, something magical happens. You begin to hear yourself, not the loud, anxious voice that always says, "What if," or "not enough," but the quiet, wise voice underneath. It's the voice that whispers truth without fear. It's the same calm you feel when watching the sky at sunset or listening to soft rain. That silence is not empty. It's full of answers. But you can only hear them when you stop running from them. Your mind is like a lake. When it's disturbed, the water becomes cloudy, and you can't see the bottom. But when it's calm, everything becomes clear. Every thought, every feeling, every decision, they all settle naturally. You don't need to force clarity. You just need to be still long enough for the mud to fall. Here's a small way to practice it. Sit quietly for 2 minutes each day. No phone, no music, no words. Just breathe and notice your thoughts passing by. Don't hold them. Don't fight them. Just let them go. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. That's it. This simple act of stillness begins to clean the noise inside. At first, it feels uncomfortable. The silence might even scare you because you're used to movement and distraction. But soon, the silence becomes your friend. You'll begin to realize it's not loneliness, it's connection. It's your mind meeting itself. And in that meeting, you'll discover something most people never experience: the quiet power of being present. When your mind learns to rest in silence, it no longer reacts to every small problem. It responds with wisdom instead of panic. The world may still be noisy, but you will carry a calm center wherever you go. You'll start to see that silence is not the opposite of strength, it's the source of it. Because when you can stand still inside your own mind, nothing outside can shake you. And slowly, you begin to live differently. You speak less, but mean more. You listen deeper. You walk slower, but see clearer. The silence inside you becomes a home, one that you can return to any time the world becomes too loud. When you start to feel peace in the silence of your own mind, something begins to awaken, awareness of the present moment. You realize that most of your suffering never lives in now. It lives in memories of the past and worries about the future. The present moment, the one you're breathing in right now, is almost always peaceful. Your body is here, your breath is here, your heart is beating, yet your mind is often miles away. Learning to return to now is one of the greatest powers your mind can master. The present moment is like a door that's always open, but few people walk through it. They rush through their days thinking about what's next, replaying what went wrong, missing the small miracles happening right in front of them. The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the taste of tea, the sound of your footsteps. These simple things carry peace that no future success can replace. When you pay attention to them, your mind starts to relax. It remembers that life is not a race, it's an experience. Try this little practice during your day. When you eat, just eat. Don't scroll your phone or think about tomorrow. Notice the smell, the texture, the taste. When you walk, feel your feet touching the ground. When you talk to someone, truly listen without waiting for your turn to speak. These small acts of awareness pull your mind out of its endless time travel and place it back where life actually happens, here. It's easy to underestimate how powerful this is. The present moment might look simple, but it is full of hidden strength. When you are fully present, fear loses its power because fear always lives in the future. Regret loses its voice because regret lives in the past. And now, there is only clarity and choice. You start to see what truly matters and what never did. Being present doesn't mean you forget your goals or stop dreaming. It means you stop postponing life until those dreams come true. You live while you grow. You find peace in the middle of progress. And when your mind learns to stay in the present, everything else begins to align. You speak with more honesty, you love with more attention, and you work with more focus. The present is not just time, it is power. Every deep breath you take connects your body and mind again. Every moment of awareness tells your brain, I'm alive, and that's enough for now. That sentence, if you repeat it often, becomes a medicine for the restless mind. Because the truth is, the life you've been searching for isn't waiting somewhere far away. It's happening right now, in this quiet, simple, living moment. When you begin living in the present moment, you start to see something extraordinary. Every second is full of choices. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you always control how you respond. And that power of choice, once you understand it, changes everything. It turns you from a victim of life into the creator of it. Most people don't realize how many choices they make unconsciously. They choose anger instead of patience. They choose worry instead of trust. They choose comfort instead of growth. But when your mind becomes aware, you see that every thought, every word, every reaction is a decision. You are choosing the story of your life with every breath. Imagine you're standing at a crossroad. One path leads to peace, the other to pain. Both begin in your mind. Someone criticizes you. You can choose to defend, or you can choose to listen and stay calm. A problem appears. You can choose to panic, or you can choose to look for solutions. These moments seem small, but they build your future. A calm choice repeated daily becomes a calm life. Here's a practice to train your mind in conscious choosing. The next time you feel strong emotion, anger, fear, sadness, pause for 5 seconds before reacting. In those 5 seconds, ask, what do I want to grow right now? If you want peace, breathe. If you want understanding, listen. If you want courage, act. That short pause is where awareness becomes power. Your brain loves repetition. Each time you choose wisely, you build a new pattern. Over time, choosing peace becomes natural, not forced. You won't need to fight with yourself anymore. Your mind will begin to serve your highest self automatically. That's how transformation works. Not through one big decision, but through hundreds of small, quiet choices that shape who you become. Remember this truth. Your circumstances can limit your options, but they can't touch your power to choose. Even when life is unfair, even when things fall apart, that power remains untouched. It's the one freedom no one can take away. When you realize that, you stop waiting for perfect conditions to feel strong. You understand that strength was always an inner decision. Choice is the bridge between thought and reality. Every time you choose kindness over anger, faith over fear, progress over excuses, you are building that bridge. And one day, you'll look back and see how far your choices have carried you. Not because the world changed, but because you did. As you learn to make conscious choices, you begin to notice a quiet shift in how you see the world. It's no longer just something that happens to you. It becomes something that reflects you. The outer world begins to mirror your inner one. When your mind is calm, life feels calmer. When your heart is open, people seem kinder. It's not that the world suddenly becomes perfect. It's that your perception changes, and perception is everything. Your thoughts color everything you experience. Think of them like glasses you wear all the time. If the lenses are dirty with fear, every scene looks darker. But when you clean them with awareness, gratitude, and clarity, the same world looks brighter. That's why two people can live the same day, face the same weather, the same traffic, the same challenges. Yet one feels angry while the other feels peaceful. The difference isn't the day, it's the mind seeing it. Try an experiment for 1 week. Each morning, before you step into the day, decide one feeling you want to carry: calm, kindness, curiosity, strength. Then, no matter what happens, try to return to that feeling again and again. When someone is rude, remember your choice of kindness. When the day gets heavy, return to your choice of calm. It's not easy at first, but this practice trains your mind to lead instead of follow. You'll begin to realize something powerful. When your energy changes, your environment often follows. People respond differently. Opportunities appear. Even small events start to feel meaningful. This isn't magic, it's focus. You're no longer feeding negativity, so it slowly loses its place in your reality. Your mind and the world start to move in harmony instead of conflict. There's a deep truth in this. Your mind creates atmosphere. Walk into a room full of worry, and you'll feel it immediately. Walk into a room filled with calm, and your breathing slows. You carry that same influence everywhere you go. When your inner world is peaceful, you become that peaceful space for others. That's how your personal power quietly transforms into something bigger. It begins to touch lives beyond your own. And this is where the true meaning of your superpower begins to unfold. It's not only about controlling your thoughts or emotions. It's about using your mind to shape a kinder reality for yourself and for the people around you. The stronger your inner world becomes, the more light it brings to the outer one. And in that light, the world itself begins to change, starting from you. As your inner and outer worlds begin to connect, you start to see the whole picture clearly. Everything you have learned, awareness, focus, calm, action, choice, all of it was leading you here, to this simple truth. Your greatest power has always been your mind, and your mind has always been you. The strength you were chasing was never somewhere far away. It was waiting inside, quiet and patient, ready to rise when you finally turned inward. You now understand that your mind is not your enemy. It is not a cage of worries or a storm of fears. It is a living instrument, and when you learn to play it with awareness, it produces the music of your life. Every thought becomes a note, every choice a rhythm, every emotion a soft echo of growth. The more you master this instrument, the more peaceful, confident, and awake you become. Look back for a moment, not with regret, but with gratitude. Every failure, every fear, every sleepless night, every time you doubted yourself, all of it trained your mind. Those experiences didn't break you. They introduced you to your own depth. They taught you how to stand, how to see, how to understand. You needed those storms to find your calm. You needed the darkness to appreciate the light. Now, when you look at the world, you don't see chaos the same way. You see lessons. You see mirrors. You see chances to practice peace. The noise is still there, but your heart listens differently. You no longer react to everything. You respond. You no longer chase everything. You choose. You no longer need to prove your worth. You already know it. That is the quiet confidence of a trained mind. Here is the secret most people never learn. The mind doesn't become powerful through control, but through understanding. You don't force it to obey, you guide it to trust. You teach it kindness, and it gives you strength. You give it stillness, and it gives you wisdom. When you work with your mind instead of against it, life itself begins to work with you. So breathe now. Feel the air entering your body, leaving softly. Feel the peace that you created, not from the world, but from your own awareness. You have walked through distraction, fear, emotion, and failure, and arrived at clarity. This is what it means to return to yourself. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are simply remembering the truth you carried all along. Your mind is your superpower. And when you use it with love, with patience, with purpose, you become unstoppable, not because life is easy, but because your inner world is steady. From this moment forward, you don't just live life. You create it, thought by thought, breath by breath, choice by choice.